The Dallas Stars defense needs fixing, and they need it fast. Let's talk about it next on Locked On Stars.
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer 105 through the Fan, and play-by-play voice of the Chippewa Steel. Be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. The Dallas Stars take on the Florida Panthers tonight, game 2 of their 3-game road trip, looking to bounce back after being shut out by the Tampa Bay Lightning on Monday night. We'll preview the Panthers, and they're off to a very nice start this season. Also play some Shooting Star later on to have some fun before we wrap up today's episode. But the headliner today is the Dallas Stars defense needs fixing. And that is no surprise to any of you Stars fans out there, but I have a little bit more concern and some more urgency for fixing this back end. And we'll get into that in just a moment. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. So we are 23 games into the 2023-24 season, and the Stars are handling the beginning of the year pretty well, to say the least. Second place in the Central Division. That is nothing to scoff at, and exactly where we expected them to be, in the top 3 of the Central Division. But there is a clear weakness, and it's the defense. And we saw it on Monday night, and it's starting to rear its head a bit more. So I obviously stated my concerns coming into the year with the back end, but the Stars had some questions or some possible solutions with Nils Lundkvist and Thomas Harley, who were going to step up and take bigger roles. And really the only thing that's seemed to pan out on the D-core is Thomas Harley. He's playing in all situations now. He's playing even better than he was at the end of last year and into that playoff run. Leading scorer on the back end, 5 goals so far this season. He's doing such a great job of playing in all situations. He's gotten some time on the PK. It looks like he's now going to transition into being the quarterback on the second power play unit, which I've been calling for a while, which I love because he's big. He has size. He's mobile. He gets his shots through is one of the most underrated things for Thomas Harley. He gets his shots through on net, and it produces a ton of rebounds and chaos in front of opponent netminders. So Harley's been great. Nils now is not playing. He's been healthy, scratched the last 2 games. I think he'll be back in tonight, but there is a clear disagreement, or I guess disapproval, with the way Lundkvist has been playing as of late, at least in the eyes of the coaching staff. I've already shared my opinions on Lundkvist multiple times. You can go back to literally the most 3 recent episodes, and you'll have some of my thoughts on Lundkvist. I do think it's important for him to play and continue to develop. The Stars cannot wait for him to develop to the player they think he needs to be. And this is where I'm now having the urgency to get something done. They need to make a move. They can't wait till the deadline, because I'm now worried that we may get to the point where the Stars have been able to manage their way through their first 23 games and win games and pick up points and continue to be right in the mix of the Western Conference. But I'm worried we're going to have to get to the point where the Stars are going to have a huge slide, 4 or 5 games where they're winless, or 6 games and they only have a few points to show for it. And it's going to be really late, and they're going to become too desperate, and the asking price is going to go too high for certain guys, because we've already seen Zadorov be moved. Calgary's probably going to be a fire sale within the next few months up to the trade deadline. And this is my point. I think the Stars need to make a move now before waiting, or rather than waiting. And I've usually been on the boat of, well, take your time, just see how it progresses. But look, Suter's starting to stumble recently. I thought he played a really good first 15 to 18 games. He's looking a bit slower, and he did not have a great night against Tampa Bay. Miro Heiskanen is also a guy that needs a bit of criticism. And I'm not going to sit here and blame it all on him. He's playing a ton of minutes and he's having to carry a huge load, but he's another guy. I think even he would say he would like to be able to provide a little bit more contribution. Just 14 points so far this season. I expected him to be a lot higher. He seems to be exhausted, and I don't know how to put it, but he just doesn't have the juice on most nights recently. And they're trying to manage his time on ice, but he's still playing just over 25 minutes. He played close to 26 last season, and that's to no fault of their own. They've been playing a ton of tight games, and he's going to play in all situations. He's on the PK most nights. He's on the power play, of course, and even the power play has not been as deadly as it was last season. So they need to find some answers there. They tried to split up Hakanpää and Lundell, who are really, really good on the PK, and they've been better than last year, but still not the answer and solution the Dallas Stars are really looking for. So I'm really pushing now for Dallas to do something just to try to fix some holes. And the other reason why I say this is yeah, they're obviously not happy with the way Lundkvist has been playing lately. What is going to change now for the next 40 games that's going to allow him to play almost every day, or at least play in the playoffs? I don't think they view him as a Stanley Cup playoff player. I don't think they trust him enough to put him in the fire, so to speak. He wasn't last year, of course, as he was scratched the majority of the last 20 games. I don't know what he can do to change the fact that he's going to be on your roster come Stanley Cup playoff time. I don't see him fixing those problems unless he makes huge, huge strides, which he absolutely can. Look, I'm not selling all my stock on him, but if he's not going to be on your roster Stanley Cup playoff time, then that's just another hole you need to fix. And as much as they like Hanley and they trust him to come in and do his job, I would rather not have Hanley playing every day in the playoffs most nights. I think he provides a good, solid seventh defenseman. That's what he is. But they need more than that if they want to compete with the Vegas Golden Knights. The Los Angeles Kings are really deep on the back end. Those are the teams you're going to have to beat when it matters most. So they need to find some solutions other places. And I mentioned with Calgary and Hanifin and Tanev, who is a fan favorite, I guess you could say, among Stars fans to go out and get. Sean Walker has now appeared from Philly. He's had a good year as well for them. So that's my call to action. They need to do it sooner rather than later. I think the asking price will be lower if they do it a bit sooner. And I would like to see this team have their defense set, months before Stanley Cup playoff time, because they're going to get in. They're too talented and they have too many good players to not get in. And they're obviously one of the upper echelon teams. I hate feeling so nitpicky sometimes because they're still at the top of the Central Division and they're playing good hockey. And everybody's going through these rough stretches, but we know what the weakness is, and it has been for at least a season and a half now. It needs to be addressed. But I do want to end on a positive note here for this segment, because I took a look at some of the numbers here for different defenseman pairings, and I just stumbled upon Heiskanen and Harley, because this is the, I guess, premier pairing that we are waiting for out of the Dallas Stars. Unfortunately, I don't think they have anybody else that can play together at a high level in order to have these two together, but they've played some stints together. And for defenseman pairings that have played over 40 minutes this season, Heiskanen and Harley, who have played 47 and a half minutes together, are at the top of the expected goals percentage by every pairing in the NHL. 74.5%. Expected goals for 3.5, and expected goals against just above 1.2, which is not too shabby themselves. So I thought that was just a bit interesting that I stumbled upon that those two, when they're together, are very, very effective and have some intriguing numbers. So that is something to look forward to. And that's up there with Luke Hughes, Connor Miller, who are playing together, Stahl, Ristolainen, Orlov, and Chatfield in Carolina. So those are some pretty good D pairings. And I think that provides a lot of hope moving forward for Stars fans. So wanted to relay that information. Alrighty, that wraps up this defense. And by God, they need some help. Let's touch on these Florida Panthers, who were the Eastern Conference representatives last season in that great run to the Stanley Cup final. And they've been off to a good start, and they've dealt with some injuries and are finding a way. And we'll touch on that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is obsessed with finding you tickets for those last-minute concerts, those last-minute games that you decided to go to. We've all been there, Stars fans. You buy a ticket to a certain arena or a ballpark, one place you've never been to before. You show up to your seats, and there's a railing in the way. There's a piece of glass. There's a pole. By all means, I've been to Wrigley. I've been stuck behind a pole one time. And then you get so frustrated. I wouldn't have bought these tickets if I had known that. And that's why Game Time is so good, and they give you complete peace of mind when you purchase. You get the view before you buy your seat. All-in prices show the total up front. Buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps. Find exclusive flash deals, sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, you name it. You can find it. Holidays are right around the corner. Give your significant other, give your sports-loving friend some cash, a gift card to Game Time so they can go to their favorite team and go watch a game. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets for yourself as well. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Lowest price guaranteed. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is also brought to you by FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offer stays hot on FanDuel. I'm up here in Wisconsin. It is snowing. It is 20 degrees in the morning. And by God, I cannot take it. Can't wait to go home to Dallas for Christmas. But you know what that weather means. It's hockey season as well as football season. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That is on FanDuel. Go ahead, get that app. That's $100 and $50, I should say, if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options. You can do spreads, player props, over-unders, and all that good stuff. We're all going to be at home during the holidays with our families, and we're going to be watching sports. We got the Cowboys. We got the Stars on. Make a little money while you watch some sports, and also pay for those Christmas presents, or at least get back the investment that you made on those Christmas presents for your family by going to FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NHL season. FanDuel, a official partner of the NFL. So the Florida Panthers, the Eastern Conference represented a season ago and had a great miracle run. Of course, fell short at the hands of the Vegas Golden Knights. But this is a team that's been off to a really great start. And they've dealt with some injuries to a lot of key guys right off the hop. Aaron Ekblad and Brandon Montour are two on the back end that have only played 8 games this season. They recently got back from their injuries and are starting to make an impact. But this Florida team was without them for a while, and they find themselves second in the Atlantic Division and doing a really great job so far on the season. They've only allowed 62 or 72 goals per game, or 72 goals overall on the season. Excuse me, that's 20th in the NHL. But they've scored 62, which ranks 5th. Flip those around. 72 goals for, 62 goals against. So many numbers, sometimes they get mixed up. But so they're 5th in the NHL currently in goals allowed. So they've been really steady defensively. And they've had some guys with down years namely Matthew Tkachuk is a guy that's only scored 4 times this season, but they are getting huge contributions from Sam Reinhart. And that's going to be the revolving factor of this conversation. Sam Reinhart is having a phenomenal season, 29 points. He's already scored 14 goals this season, and it's in a contract year. So someone's going to have to pay Sam Reinhart here at the end of the season. And he's having a great year so far. A great two-way forward along with Barkov. This is a tough guy to stop. And for a Florida team that has not been great on the power play this season, they're only clicking at about 17% so far this year. Reinhart has scored 7 goals on the man advantage. So you have to look out for number 13. And Barkov's usually the one setting him up. 15 assists on the year. He's one of the premier setup guys and playmakers in the National Hockey League. One of the best two-way forwards as well. Ton of Selke trophies and his future. So those are just a few of the guys the Stars will have to try to stop here tonight. Oliver Ekman-Larsson is a guy who came over in the offseason, and he's needs a lot of praise for what he's done. So with guys like Montour and Ekblad out, he kind of jumped on the power play, and he's done a nice job filling in. 12 points in his first 24 games for a 32-year-old defenseman is not bad by any means. He's proving that he can play again at a pretty high standard. So some more on the Matthew Tkachuk struggles, because of course he had a career high 109 points last season and was really the driving factor, along with a few of the guys on the back end, to making the Stanley Cup last season. So his average goal per game rate last season was at 0.51. This year it's at 0.17, and he's on pace for just 65 points. So that's a guy, if he gets going, this Panthers team is going to get going too. So Tkachuk has not been playing really well, so that's a big key tonight. Keep him off the score sheet and keep him not playing well, because if he finds a spark, he will be very good and very effective. So Reinhart is the guy, though, 28 years old, 16 goals so far on the season, and he's already halfway to his career high in that aspect. Expect Sergei Bobrovsky to go tonight. He's been their stalwart. They have Stolars as their backup, who, of course, was in Calgary for a number of seasons. Bobrovsky's had some great success against the Stars in his career. It's actually tapered off a bit recently. It feels like the Stars have had his number, but 11-6-1 so far on the season in his first 18 games, .912 save percentage, and a 2.41 goals against average. Bobrovsky has been good, the 35-year-old netminder from Russia. So the Stars will have to try to solve Bobrovsky, who's been playing a lot recently. And so is Jake Ottinger. I've noticed that as well, because of course there's big concern, or I should say a conscious effort to keep Ottinger fresh this season, but he's already played in 17 games. I found that remarkable when I saw that. I was like, man, he has already played a ton, which is amongst the league leaders. I also ran into this, which I guess piqued my interest, you could say. I took a look at this stat: goals saved above expected so far this season. And this is at 5-on-5, by the way. Connor Hellenbuck leads the way at 10.6. Jake Ottinger is ranked 50th, in this respective category. Scott Wedgwood is at 27. He's only played 6 games, so that may be inflated. 1.4 goals save above expected, but Ottinger comes in at 15th at -1.7. And that is at 5-on-5. So he hasn't been that great at even strength. He's actually been really good in terms of on the power play. And of course, the PK has been very good, but it's no stranger that Ottinger has been sometimes the best penalty killer for the Dallas Stars. He comes in 16th at all other situations at 5.0, which is with Varlamov and Alex Lyon, Tristan Jarry, so a little bit outside the top 10. But those are something that Ottinger can certainly improve on. And I think the Stars really, really need. They're still very good in net, but I think if Ottinger could find his rhythm again, he found it in his last 2 games, and then on Monday, he kind of got ate up a bit, which I don't put a ton of that on him, but he can win you some hockey games. And if we can see him start kind of carrying starts into others and just really find his groove, and get in his zone, like we're accustomed to seeing sometimes, that would be a huge help. And it would help out the defense too, because they need all the help they can get. Okay. Game 2 of a 3-game road trip. Stars looking to bounce back tonight against those Panthers. Who is your shooting star? Comment and give me your answer below. Who's going to lead those Dallas Stars to victory tonight? I will give you my pick in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Indeed. Indeed is what you need if you have a business. We all understand. Don't you wish you could sometimes hire people like you do on your fantasy team when you're just drafting every guy you want? You're building that roster to win the league. You need to get Indeed to build a roster for your company. It's the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you could do it all with Indeed. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. Hate waiting. Indeed's U.S. data shows over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. Indeed knows when you're growing your business, you have to make every dollar count. That's why you need Indeed. You only pay for quality applicants that match your must-have job requirements. Visit Indeed.com/lockedon to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Before we jump into my shooting star pick, want to relay that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top stories with the local experts, Locked On Plus, all those national shows. It is a great, great service. Go ahead and show them some love on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So my shooting star pick tonight, sing it with me, Stars fans, pass the Dutchie funny left-hand side. I think that's how it goes. I could be botching this, and this is embarrassing, but give me Matt Duchene tonight. 17 points in his first 22 games this season. He has been off the schneid recently. He has not scored a goal, and I believe in 6 or 7 games now. I'll have to get the exact number. I believe it's 6 games. I like Matt Duchene to have a big night. That line's been one of the best in the entire NHL this season. Taking a look at their expected goals for, Marchment, Seguin, and Duchene come in at number 4 this season. 61.5% expected goals percentage. That trio has been really, really good. And I thought they were the best line on Monday night. I thought they were the few that had some juice. So give me Matt Duchene. Hopefully he pots a couple. Stars need a hat trick this season. Let's have Matt Duchene get the hat trick. And so far, it's actually been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is bad podcasting. 8 games without a goal so far this year. So they need him to get something going tonight in Florida. Stars have had some success down there in the Sunshine State. Hopefully that continues and they get a bounce back win. I also have stumbled across this a few times, and I forgot to mention this. In the tenure of Pete DeBoer so far with the Dallas Stars, they have never gone more than 3 games without acquiring a point, which I think is very, very remarkable. And I think they haven't, I want to say, lost more than 3 in a row, or maybe it's 2 in a row. Well, not, yeah, I think it maybe is 3 in a row, but they haven't gone more than 3 games without a point, which I think is really good, and shows you why they've been so good following a loss under his helm. So expect some lineup changes tonight. I think Nils Lundkvist will be back in along with Dodonov. DeBoer likes to shake things up, especially after being shut out on Monday. So Ottinger maybe be going. I could see Wedgwood too. We'll have to see on that. Be sure to follow me on the Twitter thing, Joey the Jet 19, or the X. I throw my opinions out there. Also, be sure to subscribe on Locked On Stars on Twitter and stuff. I throw a lot of stuff on there on game nights and everything too. I'll have a reaction for you after the game, and we'll break it down tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, Stars fans, and we will see you tomorrow, hopefully with a Stars win. So long, Stars fans.